विश्वं दर्पणदृश्यमाननगरी तुल्यन्निजान्तर्गतं पश्यन्नात्मनि मायया बहिरिवोद्भूतं यथा निद्रया यस्साक्षात् कुरुते प्रबोधसमये स्वात्मानमेवाद्वयं तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये बीजस्यान्तरिवाङ्कुरो जगदिदं प्राङ्निर्विकल्पं पुनः मायाकल्पितदेशकालकलना वैचित्रचित्रीकृतं मायावीव विजृम्भयत्यपि महायोगी वयस्वेच्छया तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ Verse 161 अशेषप्राणिबुद्धीनां वासनास्तत्र संस्थिताः ताभिः क्रोडीकृतं सर्वं तेन सर्वज्ञ ईरितः. So we are discussing Ishvara, and Ishvara is the one who is Maya Pratibimbita Chaitanyam and which has all superior attributes, or Sarvajñatvam, Sarveshwaratvam, Antaryamitvam, and this all has been described very well in the Mandukya Upanishad, 6th mantra. And that's how Vidyaranyana Swamiji quotes that mantra in a verse, also paraphrasing rather, and also then he explains all these attributes which have been mentioned in the Mandukya Upanishad. And in that we have seen in the verse number 160, the Sarveshwaratvam was explained. The means he is omnipotent. That has been explained very, very well. Sarveshwaratvam has been taken as a Sarvashakti, Sarvashaktiman. Now the word in this verse 161, the word Sarvajñatvam has been explained. Ishvara is a Sarvajña, he is omniscient. Vidyaranya says, well, Lord has got Maya as a Upadhi, and Maya is like the mind of the Lord. Like we have a mind where we gather all this knowledge, mind or intellect. There we gather the knowledge. Same way, Ishvara's mind is this Maya. And where, of course, it is Maya, well, definitely, and therefore it includes all the intellect also, because from Maya everything has come ultimately. So it includes the intellect of all the jivas. And so any knowledge, intellect means a seat of knowledge, and therefore any knowledge which was there in the past, it is right now in the present, and all will be in the future. Well, all must be within the Maya. Any knowledge in any intellect, whether which is there right now in the present, any intellect which is there in the present, which was there in the past, or intellect which will be there in the future, all is included in this Maya. And all the intellect, why for this intellect, why there is a future and past, etc.? Because basically all the intellect are not manifest, and therefore some of the jivas might be remaining in a potential form, and therefore, well, because the karmas are not yet ready, and therefore there will be future intellect, because jiva means basically a conditioned consciousness. Condition means conditioned through subtle body means intellect, and therefore when jiva becomes manifest means his intellect is manifest. But when jiva is unmanifest because his karmas are not ready, then definitely the subtle body also is not in manifest condition. Intellect is not in manifest condition. That intellect will be what kind of intellect? That intellect is called potential intellect. Well, definitely the intellect which is in the potential condition, definitely, then jiva is called unmanifest. Anyway, so there will be a future intellect, means, well, definitely the jiva will become manifest when the subtle body, well, definitely is born. Then jiva become manifest. And so intellect becomes manifest. So that is a future intellect. And so but whatever the intellects are there right now, or what were there in the past and has now become manifest, and whatever are yet to come, intellect, future, all are there in the Maya. So he says, Tatra means in that Ishvara or in the Maya, same thing ultimately. Because Maya is also non-separate from Ishvara. And therefore either you say this intellect are there in Maya or intellects are there in the Ishvara. Vasana, Tatra Vasana means in that Maya, this Vasana, the potential form, the seed form, otherwise called Karana Shariram, of Ashesha Prani Buddhinam Vasana. So, of all the intellects, of all the jivas. So, Buddhinam, of all intellects. And Ashesha Prani Buddhinam. So, definitely of all the jivas also. So, of all the intellect of all the jivas. And here it Vasana, Tatra. So, not intellects are not there. Intellect in the potential condition, they are there in Maya, because Maya itself is unmanifest. Anyway, so the Vasana has a two meaning. One meaning of Vasana is which is there in the Buddhi right now, when it is manifest, right? All varieties of the impressions, that we call Vasana, which are born of karma and which are born of experiencing karma phala. Vasanas are of two types. So, vasanas are definitely by doing an activity, you form an habit. So, of doing a thing, in that fashion. So, you have a karma vasana also and karma phala vasana also. Experiencing karma phala, anubhava. So, from there the vasanas are born. So, any experience will result, leave behind an impression. That's vasana. So anyway, but that is right now in the buddhi. We are not talking about that vasana. We are talking about the intellect which is in the potential condition. So not in manifest condition. When the intellect becomes unmanifest, that is called vasana. So that's a different meaning here. We call karana sharira also. Anyway. So what vasana does not refer to this general vasana and of the mind. Here what vasana means the seed form of the mind itself. So this buddhi bijam is called here vasana, which is otherwise called karana shariram, of all the buddhis, of all the etc. So ashesha pranina, without exception. So even Brihaspati has got a great intellect, right? That intellect also, was there before creation, that intellect was in a potential condition. So that is also included in Maya. So ashesha means all. All means even Devata's intellect, even all intellect, where they are in a potential condition, they are included in that Maya. So it says Tatra. Tatra means Mayayam samsthitaha, they reside in this Maya. So all the intellects in a potential conditions are there in Maya. That's all it means. And when they are there in the Maya at the time of Pralayam, because all are in the potential condition means what? All are in potential condition. That means it's in pralayam. So this is one thing. And then second thing is sarvam tabihi krodi kritam. Sarvam tabihi. So all the objects in the creation or everything in the creation is krodi kritam, is vishayi kritam, is objectified. So all the varieties of objects are known, right, by the intellect only. So intellect in potential condition, then the knowledge which is objectified by that particular intellect also is in the potential condition. So Krodikritam means Vishayi Kritam, objectified, known, etc. etc. Captured, you can say even. So everything in the creation is objectified by one or other jiva, definitely. By intellect of one jiva or the other jiva. And not just object. Even laws, right? Even the laws of the creation are also objectified, are known to at least scientist mind, and therefore even a law of relativity or any law which is very difficult for us to understand, so we cannot know it, we cannot objectify it, that's fine. But then Einstein at least understood it. Anyway, so all the physical laws or chemical laws, biological laws, which are which are objectified, which are known by varieties of the intellects. Well, if intellect is in potential condition, then that knowledge, well, or the objects of knowledge also will be in the potential condition. I mean, so whatever is knowable by any person, objectifiable by any intellect of any jiva, is also we should consider it that also in the potential condition. And therefore everything in the creation is known to some intellect or the other, and so all the intellects are included in Maya, and therefore all knowledge also must be there in Maya. So that Maya belongs to Ishvara. And so Ishvara is lucky, he knows everything. He has nothing called I don't know. That thing he doesn't, that kind of vritti itself is not there. I don't know. Anyway, tabihi krodikritam. So tabihi means this buddhi vasana bihi. Buddhi vasana bihi means with their potential intellect, sarvam krodikritam, everything is objectified, everything is known, and therefore tatra, I mean tena means therefore. Here therefore means this, please don't understand tena means tat word, tat sarvanama is there, this is tritiya vibhakti ekvachan. No, this is the indeclinable. And here tena is equal to tasmat, therefore. Not that by that reason, etc. Nothing like that. Tena means tasmat, therefore Ishvaraha sarvajnaha. And therefore Ishvara is well definitely called sarvajnaha, because everything, because that is Maya is its upadhi, and everything, all intellects at the time of pralayam and the objects of intellect, objects of knowledge, well, including all the laws, are also there in the potential condition. And therefore, well, one who possesses such a Maya, which is summation of all the intellects, etc., and all the knowledge, that Ishvara is called Sarvajna. So, and so whatever is to be invented later, not today, just to invent later also, will be, that also must be there somewhere, because you invent. I mean, invent means what? You find out, you discover it, right? Therefore it must have been there. And then what is the place where it was? And now it has been invented. What is that place? Maya. So, why Maya? Because Maya is the seed of creation. And therefore, definitely, all the inventions, which is a part of creation, also must have been there in the Maya. So, that's how Pujya Swamiji always tells this, no one creates the knowledge. One basically removes the avaranam on that knowledge. So, knowledge has been always there. And in fact, Ishvara's knowledge alone is manifest in this whole creation. And so when it was there, if it has manifest in this creation, everything is a manifestation of knowledge, then before creation it must have been in a seed form. That is called Maya. And therefore, such a Maya is a upadhi of consciousness, which is called Ishvara. And therefore Ishvara is a Sarvajna. So he is explaining word Sarvajna. Now 162. Vasananam parokshatvat sarvajnam nahi ikshate sarvabuddhishu tadrishtva vasanasvanumiyatam. So here now Vidyaranya Swami says that this omniscience of the Lord, which he enjoys because of Maya, is only an inferable fact, which can never be directly experienced or perceived by anybody. So omniscience is an inferable fact, not perceptible or experienceable. Why? Because anything that is potential is not perceptible. Anything is potential is an unmanifest condition. Potential or unmanifest, same thing. And then, but what is the meaning of this unmanifest? Well, the very word manifest means which can be objectified through senses, that we call manifest. Indriya gocharam, which becomes an object of perception. Well, that we call as a manifest. And therefore, definitely unmanifest means which can never become an object of senses, sense organs. And therefore, well, definitely, then it is not, since it is not available for perception, then definitely it cannot be directly experienced also. So unmanifest means basically not available for experience, perception, etc. And like your speaking power right now. So I am, for me right now, all of your speaking power is basically unmanifest because it is not directly experienced, right? I know that before that you were speaking before the class. After the class also you may ask some question, and therefore I will directly experience your speaking power later. I experienced before also directly. But now in between, right now, well, I am not able to experience your speaking power. So I should not say speaking power has lost. So it is unmanifest right now. Simple, potential. Therefore, same way, that is what we say. Karanam means a potential. So it's all there. So if you spoke in the past, if you are going to speak in the future, then the power is in potential form, which is and that is potential or unmanifest. I am not able to experience directly, and therefore same way this Karana Shariram also is potential because it is Karana, and therefore Samashti Karana Shariram, that is Maya, is also unmanifest. Maya is unmanifest, and therefore because Maya is Samashti Karana. So Karanam means it is manifest. It is unmanifest. So right now, when your speaking power is directly perceived, well, it is when it becomes unmanifest. So that's the effect. But it has come from the power which you have already. That speaking power. Power is there, potentially there, which is a Karanam, which can manifest when you speak. Same way, so Karanam is unmanifest. Karana Shariram is unmanifest. Samashti Karana Shariram, Maya, is also unmanifest. And therefore, if Maya is unmanifest, then Maya Pratibimbita Chaitanyam also is unmanifest. And so, omniscience virtue of that Ishvara also is unmanifest. That's what he wants to convey. Vasananam parokshatvat sarvagnyam nahi ikshati. So, anyway, so Karana Pratibimbita Chaitanyam has to be inferred because it is unmanifest. It is in the potential. That is because it is in the form of potential buddhi. Definitely. Potential buddhi means total potential buddhi, and therefore it has got. And but then how can you say, well, that Maya has a pratibimba? But Karana Shariram, well, buddhi, let us say, buddhi, right now, what is manifest, right? Sukshma Shariram. So it has a pratibimba or not? Yeah, it has a pratibimba. Then in potential condition, if buddhi goes to potential condition, the pratibimba will be there or not? It will be there. No, it is not there, you cannot say, because it is potential and therefore you cannot directly experience. Okay, so it is there. So if buddhi in a potential condition has a pratibimba or it has a pratibimba chaitanyam, therefore all the intellect, when they are in potential condition, will have what? Will have a pratibimba chaitanya. And therefore Maya, which is nothing but a potential condition of all the intellects, well, then that is also has a pratibimba, and therefore Maya also has a pratibimba chaitanya. This is how he proves. How will you say Maya pratibimba chaitanya? And so he will have to take an individual only. And but then individual also, well, when he that buddhi becomes a potential, then how can you say that the pratibimba is still there? Yeah, that's our own experience. That's our own experience. That this buddhi, right now in a waking state, right? Then buddhi is there, then therefore, pratibimba chaitanyam is there. How can you say pratibimba chaitanyam? Chaitanyam is there. No, pratibimba chaitanyam. Why? Why pratibimba chaitanyam? Because you take yourself as a conscious being, which has a sense of location, and therefore definitely pratibimba has a sense of location. Pratibimba is within the reflecting medium. But then that may be true that I may be a limited entity only. Why not that way? That's my reality. And therefore, how can you say it is just a pratibimba? Because in a deep sleep state, you don't have a sense of localization. So, will you say you are not there then? You are a conscious being and you are there in a potential condition without a sense of location, without awareness of a time, without awareness of anything. So, definitely, then you are basically consciousness without any sense of awareness of a time, space, and everything. And when you wake up, you have a sense of location. Now the same consciousness, if you are there all the time, then now how the same, now you say that I am a conscious being with a certain location. I am right now situated in the ashram, etc. Therefore, this consciousness is localized consciousness now, and therefore that's a pratibimba. That's a pratibimba which has a sense of location, and therefore this is just saying. So buddhi in a potential condition will have a pratibimba, but in potential condition will have, because that's right now, that's from where there only it has come, and therefore then this buddhi, all the buddhis, in the state of pralaya will also have a pratibimba in potential condition, and that all buddhi in a potential condition, samashti buddhi in a potential condition is called samashti karana shariram or samashti karana prapancha or maya, will also have a pratibimba, chaitanya. And therefore the sarvajnatvam akshitra also will be there, but it is in potential condition. And therefore, so from karya pratibimbat chaitanyam you can always infer karana pratibimbat chaitanyam. So yatra yatra karya pratibimbat chaitanyam tatra tatra karana pratibimbat chaitanyam purvakatvam. So definitely, so has to be inferred. And so vasananam parokshatvad, he says, vasananam parokshatvad. So here vasana, of course, I have already given the meaning. The potential form of the intellect is called vasana, or called karana shariram. And so parokshatvat. So karana shariranam or avyakta buddhinam parokshatvat. Well, since all the potential intellect are paroksham. Paroksham means which is not pratyaksham, which is not available for a direct experience, direct perception. And therefore it is parokshatvat, means it is only inferable. That's how it is. It's only inferable. We have two types of knowledges, right? One is a pratyaksha and other is a paroksha. We gather knowledge with 6 means of knowledge. We gather 2 types of knowledges. One is a direct knowledge with a direct experience, like I am seeing you and gaining your knowledge, etc., of a sight, etc., or sound, everything through senses is a direct knowledge. And rest of the means of knowledge will give you paroksha, other than in senses. So like inference, etc., through the mind gives you paroksha. So same way here, since it is in potential condition, definitely, so asananam parokshatvat, the potential form of the all the intellects or karana sharira, potential state of karana sharira, I should not say, potential state of a buddhi, intellect, potential state of a sukshma sharira or karana sharira. Swamiji, potential state of a karana sharira. Never say that. Okay? So, or unmanifest condition, you can say, or karana shariram. So, it is paroksham, vasananam parokshatva. This means potential form of all the intellects. Vasananam, please understand that. Means it's a plural, means it is samashti, total. Okay? And therefore potential form of all the intellects means karana prapancha. It is paroksham, it is not directly perceptible, therefore inferable. And therefore sarvajnatvam also, the omniscience belong to samashti karana sharira or maya pratibhita chaitanyam, Ishvara. That also becomes paroksham. So sarvajnatvam is a paroksham. You cannot experience sarvajnatvam of Ishvara. That's what I want to convey. You can never experience sarvajnatvam of Ishvara directly. I am seeing Swamiji, Ishvara is sarvajna. Ishvara himself is not available for, right? Maya pratibhimbita chaitanya is Ishvara. Maya itself is potential, unmanifest. Maya pratibhimbita chaitanya also is unmanifest. That is Ishvara. If Ishvara himself is, definitely not available for pratyaksha, then the guna of a Ishvara, sarvajnatvam itself also is nahi ikshate. That's how he says. Nahi ikshate. Definitely it is never available for perception in or direct experience. So mayayaha parokshatvat sarvajnatvam api paroksham bhavitum arhati. Maya itself is paroksha, being unmanifest. Therefore sarvajnatvam also will be. So Ishvara, who has guna called superior attribute called sarvajnatvam, through the Maya, well, that also is Paroksha. So Paroksha means we have to say it is inferable. Because otherwise, how will you say Maya has, well, it is not available for perception. Therefore, how will you say that Ishvara is Sarvagnya? How will you say? So you have to say that it is inferable. Paroksha means basically it is inferable. It is indirect knowledge means it is inferable. And this we can say from taking our own example, as I said, with regard to Jiva also, well, when we are asleep, basically, whatever knowledge we have gathered during daytime, they are all there even during sleep in a potential form. Like my knowledge of Sanskritam or my knowledge of Vedanta or any other thing, my knowledge of Gujarati language or whatever. So, or my knowledge of Pancadasi, etc. Whatever knowledge we have gained during the waking state, etc. Well, during deep sleep stage, that is there potentially. But how do I know it is there? Well, you are not able to perceive it is there in a deep sleep state. Oh, it is there. Right now also it is there. I am sleeping, but my Panchadashi knowledge is still there. Then you are not sleeping. Okay? And therefore, it is not available like that in a deep sleep state as a direct experience. And but you can infer it very well. And thank God it is there also. Otherwise, you gain this knowledge and during a day, and in deep sleep state it is not there in a potential condition, then next day it won't arise at all because it has gone. And therefore, if potentially not there, it is gone. And then, next day if I suppose take a Panchadashi class and I say Karana Shariram, so you say, what is this? What is Shariram, Swamiji? First tell us this, then Karana Shariram. But it is fortunate for you that you have the knowledge, what you have gathered, whatever. Little bit maybe you have forgotten, but you know in general. And therefore it is there. So, for you also it is a very fortunate, and for me also it is fortunate. Otherwise, because generally I assume that you know all these things. But then yesterday I talked something and today you say, what is this? Means in the potential condition it was not there. It is not so. So therefore the potential knowledge in Jiva itself is Paroksha. So this way we can infer very well. So your knowledge was there, even though it is not available as a direct experience or as a perception in deep sleep state. Senses themselves are resolved. Where is the question? Even mind also is resolved. So it is not available directly in deep sleep state, but it is there in potential condition. That's how it arises again in the next morning, on the next morning. So if it is happening at the micro level like this, it happens at the macro level. What is the big deal? What is there in intellect right now becomes potential in a deep sleep state and again arises, then in an individual, then all this intellect, when they are in a potential condition in a Maya, right, or at the time of Pralayam, which is called Maya, so all knowledge will be there in potential condition. So Sarvajnatvam of Ishvara, that Maya Pratibhimbita Chaitanya, which possesses this all knowledge in a potential condition, which is called Sarvajnatvam. It is not available for direct perception, but it is an indirect knowledge from inference. Like us, like we infer our knowledge of a deep sleep state, that's not directly perceived in deep sleep state, but still we infer. Same way, what is available at the micro level is there at the macro level. So Sarvajnatvam nahi ikshate. Nahi ikshate means it is not directly perceived. Nahi ikshate, nahi pratyaksham bhavati. And what is not pratyaksham is paroksham. Now how do you get the paroksha jnanam? So paroksha jnanam can be gained through several means of knowledge. One I already told you. One is a anumanam. Inference is a pramana for paroksha jnanam. Second is a arthapatti. Presumption also is a pramana for paroksha jnanam. Even words, shabda. When you read a newspaper, etc., and you gain a knowledge that Delhi received yesterday some rain, and there was some sandstorm, etc., and then there was a rain. No, I have not seen. I have not directly experienced. I am sitting here. But if I read the news line, right, and then I gain knowledge of what has happened in the Delhi yesterday, that's it, indirect knowledge, right? And therefore, words also, words of a newspaper or news line, etc., well, definitely gives you indirect knowledge. So, anumanam, inference, arthapatti, presumption, or else this words also can give you indirect knowledge. And so for Ishvara Sarvajnatvam also is a Paroksha Jnanam. Okay, well, then what is a pramana for that? What is the means of knowledge? Definitely not Pratyaksha, but Vidyaranya says Anumiyatam. So, well, definitely Anumana is a pramana, inference is a pramana for Sarvajnatvam of Ishvara. And what is the basis for Anumanam? So, Sarva Buddhishu tad drishtva, seeing knowledge in every intellect. My intellect has some knowledge, your intellect has some knowledge, the Chinese person has some knowledge of Chinese, Japanese has knowledge of Japanese language, and a lot of other things also he knows. And me also, I have not just Gujarati language, I know something regarding Vedanta, something regarding Sanskrit, or some other. Whatever knowledge is there in every intellect, or a musician has a music training and so he has a music knowledge. And so, we experience knowledge at the intellectual level, at the level of karyam, we experience knowledge, and from that we may infer the knowledge in a samashti karana sharira. So, knowledge which is there right now in me, in you, in your intellect, my intellect, this in somebody's intellect, all from there itself I can directly assume that, well, this all knowledge was there in a potential condition at the time of pralaya. In Maya. Well, we can directly infer like that. That's very simple, I told you already. So, from Vashti Shukshma Shariram, well, Jnana, basically, what is there in our intellect, well, we can infer knowledge existing in Samashti Karana Shariram. So, my Karana Shariram, well, at least this much you can do. Potentially, well, as of course I told you, I need not have to repeat, but once again I will remind you, because he jumps. What is right now, knowledge is there in intellect. From there you can assume that all this knowledge in your head, my head, all this knowledge was there in Maya. So we may feel that it is how. So you can go back to the Karana Sharira. So my knowledge is there in a potential condition. Well, in deep sleep state, means must be in a Karana Sharira, right? That's a Karana Avastha only. And therefore, well, then if Vyashti Karana Shariram has this potential knowledge pertaining to Vyashti intellect, well, then Samashti Karana Shariram has all knowledge. That's all. Simple. So, it is simple anyway. So, knowledge belonging to my Sukshma Shariram, well, or your Sukshma Shariram, will be there in a respective Karana Shariram, and Maya is nothing but a Samashti Karana Prapancha, Samashti Karana Shariram, and therefore, well, all knowledge will be there in a potential form in Maya. So, Sarva Buddhishu tad drishta, that's how he says. Sarva Buddhishu tad drishta. When you see all the intellect having different types of knowledges, well, definitely you can infer the total knowledge in the Samashti Karana Shariram or Maya. So, Vasanasu means here now you have to take Samashti Karana Shariram because plural. If just a Vasana means a particular intellect in a potential condition. But Vasanasu means in all the intellect which are in a potential condition, that is Maya. So, Vasanasu Anumiyatam, so well, definitely from the Samashti Karana Shariram, where this knowledge is there in a potential condition, well, from there, Anumiyatam, may you infer. But what? Sarvajnatvam. Sarvajnatvam Anumiyatam. So, this Anumanam can be done. Anumanam of Ishvara being a Sarvajna, because it is not directly available. Ishvara is not available for perception. Therefore, Sarvajnatvam of Ishvara also is not available for perception. Well, Ishvara is also, well, definitely, Maya Pratimita Chaitanyam also we are inferring, because definitely, this Ishvara, which is in the subtle prapancha, it is manifested. Same way, therefore, it must have been there in Karana Shariram also. And Maya Pratibindita Chaitanya, well, definitely. If Vyashti Sukshma Sharira has a Pratibimba, then Karana Sharira also, Vyashti Karana Sharira also must have a Pratibimba in a potential condition. Okay. Then Samashti Karana Shariram has also a Pratibimba in a potential condition. That's called Ishvara. Maya Pratibindita Chaitanya is Ishvara. And therefore, Sarvajnatvam of Ishvara also can be inferred. And this Anumanam we are doing, so Nayayika becomes happy. See how the Vedantins now have come through Anumanam. See, we were yesterday saying that, day before yesterday, Nayayikas were telling, right? That, Ishvara, well, can be proven logically. And so Sarvajnatvam also can be proven logically. Yeah, they are doing. We say we are also doing Anumanam is logic. So, so you are also proving now. He is telling us, you are also proving logically Ishvara is Sarvajna. Therefore, where we are wrong? We say still you are wrong. Because you are independently trying to prove. We are trying to prove when Ishvara, when Shruti says Ishvara is Sarvajna, that is our basis. From there logically we try to explain you that it is Ishvara is Sarvajna even though it is not available for perception, direct perception or experience, but it can be inferred. That's what we can do. And therefore, what they say, this is really a funny thing, I tell you. This logic, is a donkey Puja Swami. Really, I tell you. Most illogical thing in the world is a logic. If you study little bit Nyaya Shastra, you will feel what a funny people they are really. What they say is that, I told you one thing, that they say this Jagat world is a creation, is a created thing. It's a product. It's a funny thing. How can you say that? To say something is created, you should have been there apart from the creation and watching that phenomena of the creation by Ishvara. Ishvara being a pot maker and on a certain will, a huge cosmic will, on that he is putting this clay and making all the pots kind of thing. That's not true. Nobody has seen. So it is not available for pratyaksha. And therefore, how can you say it is a creation? If creation is not proven, creator cannot be proven. Ishvara cannot be proven. Okay? And therefore, you have to take into account some pramana, which is never available to the human being. Because it is never available. Whole creation is never available for any human being. Human being is a part of creation. He came later. And therefore, definitely you should go to a pramana which is apaurushaya. And you have to take that as a basis, and then, you give certain reasoning which is not illogical. That's what it means. We should not say, I am proving Swamiji logically now. Ishvara, or logically I am proving Ishvara is Sarvajna. Never say that. Say, Shastra says Ishvara is Sarvajna, and yes, it is not illogical. How can you say it is not illogical? This is how it is. Even though Sarvajnatyam is not available for direct perception, direct experience, but it can be inferred because it is paroksha. And then you can take an example. When you give an inference, when you do anuman, when you give logic, you will have to give some example. And Vyashti is an example. My knowledge right now, in the waking state, which is manifest, which is available for me as a pratyaksha, direct perception, sakshi pratyaksha. Swamiji, your knowledge is not available for your senses. I know. Sakshi pratyaksha. Witness. What is there in my mind, I know. That's how I am able to say I know this and I don't know this. Sakshi pratyaksha. Witness perception. But it is there in a waking state, because it is manifest, because the mind is manifest, intellect is manifest. So the knowledge in the intellect is manifest, direct available for witness, perception. But then you go to sleep, then this knowledge just does not vanish, does not get destroyed, because next morning it is there. It's like my speaking power or your speaking power. It was there, and again you will speak after 1 hour or after half an hour, whatever. Suppose if you have a question, then in between it has gone. It is totally destroyed. No, it is in potential condition. Earlier it was there, afterwards it was there, then in between potential condition. That's what it is, which is not available for experience. Your speaking power is not available for my experience right now. Was available before, will be available later. It is there in between. And therefore, your knowledge, well, definitely also, which is in the manifest condition in the waking state, available tomorrow morning, then in the deep sleep state, it is in potential condition, not available for direct perception. But you can infer. It is indirect. Well, it is what is potential, what is unmanifest is indirect. That you can infer. Well, then you can infer at the samashti also. Why not? Where samashti means, well, all intellects, not just one, all intellects, and whatever they have objectified, or the laws and everything, all knowledge which are there in all the intellects, at the time of pralayam becomes unmanifest. Here sushupti in Vyashti, in samashti, Ishvara goes to sleep is a pralaya. Jiva goes to sleep, then Ishvara also goes to sleep. Yeah, that's pralaya. So that is there in the potential condition. Therefore, sarvajñatvam of Ishvara is in potential condition. So this is way. But the basis is Ishvara is sarvajña. That's a statement of a mandukya, is a basis. This is a big difference. They don't look into any Upanishad. They say it is simple to prove sarvajña. How? They say, look, ghatasya karta, ghatagnya, sarvasya karta, sarvagnya. It is easier to say than to really prove. Ghatasya karta, one who makes pot, must have a knowledge of pot. Yeah. So same way, one who makes everything must have a knowledge of everything. But who says that he has made everything? This creation is not made. It's not a created thing. It's not a product. It has come apne aap. It has come on its own. That's true. So you are going by assumption that he has made everything, therefore he knows everything. So he is sarvajña. How can you say that? He has made. That statement you prove. We say this creation is just it's sabhava. They say, some philosopher, it's a sabhava of this prakriti to manifest. Prakriti, the Sankhya's, I think. Sankhya's say the prakriti, the inert prakriti, has an intelligence, like a scientist. The nature, nature has an inbuilt intelligence to manifest into an intelligent creation. Nobody has made. Suppose if we say to Nayayika, disprove this statement. How will you disprove? No. I have seen. Ishvara was making. You have to say that. There is no other way. To disprove it, you have to tell that I am a witness of the whole creation. There is no way out. That's not the case. Sarvasya karta. But who says Sarvasya karta? Yeah. And therefore, that's a too much, on part of Nayayika to have this, to courage to say that everything, this whole is a creation. It's not true. They say like that. And then, further, a little bit, yeah, it's there. They say this, it's an intelligent manifestation. And everything is basically assembly. Like body is an assembly. And then the things, assembly means the things are, the parts are put together. If parts are put together, and it serves a certain purpose. Therefore, the parts which are put together must have been put intelligently together. And therefore, if they are put intelligently together, then definitely, well, there must be an intelligence of some conscious being, and therefore Ishvara must have been there. Yeah, but this the Prakriti, the nature itself, has inbuilt intelligence, and therefore the Prakriti itself manifests into this intelligent creation. Why should you assume another entity? That's called Gaurava dosha. Gaurava dosha means you have to explain a given thing, given phenomena with bare minimum factors. Bare minimum factors. And therefore, why should you assume another factor called conscious being? There is no conscious being who has made this. Prakriti itself, the nature which is there, has inbuilt intelligence, and it manifests into intelligently, serving a purpose for the living beings. That's what Sankhya says. Purusha does not do anything. Purusha is asanga. Purusha, the Atma, is asanga. Prakriti has inbuilt intelligence and manifests into a beautiful creation. And then this Purusha, even though he is asanga, but then he is all the time hungry. 24 hours, 24/7 hungry. And therefore, this Prakriti makes varieties of the objects of enjoyments out of its own intelligence and present to this Purusha. And Purusha is a Bhokta and Asanga. They are another extreme. Then, well, the Bhokta, and Bhokta is Asanga Bhokta. Now, what kind of that Bhoktutvam itself so shows it's a Sangha, and they say Asanga Bhokta. They have their own issues, but basically, what I am saying is, this ultimately it's difficult to prove Sarvajñatvam logically. It's not true. Anyway, so they say like this: Gata Srushti Karta Gata Shaktiman, etc., etc. Sarva Srushti Karta Sarva Shaktiman. So he is Sarvajña, Sarva Shaktiman, etc., etc. And so we say no. We are also giving a reason, but basis is Shruti. Anyway, so Anumana, so our Vidyaranya Swami says Anumiyatam. So take help of Anumana Pramanam, and and the difference I have already told you. They are independently doing Anumanam, who? Nayayikas. Then that will be a fallacy, and we cannot prove it. But we do Anumanam based on Shruti Vakya. And this fallacy, earlier I told you it is in the Brahma Sutra, Sutra number 4, etc. But I'm sorry, I did a mistake. It is there in Sutra number 2 and Sutra number 3 commentaries. In that you will find a discussion of the fallacy of proving Ishvara or its guna, etc., Sarva Shakti, Sarvajña, etc., logically. The fallacies have been shown by the Vedantin in Sutra number 2 and Sutra number 3 of the first chapter itself. That is a Shastra Yoni Adhikaranam, and there is another Adhikaranam, Jagat Karana Adhikaranam, etc. Shastra Yonitvat, and the second Adhikaranam. Shastra Yoni is the third Adhikaranam. So that is where it has been proved. So Anumiyatam, Shruti Anusarena Anumiyatam, for us. Vedanti adds, Shruti Anusarena. Well, in keeping with the Shruti statement, we make an inference. So Vasanasu Sarvajñatvam, well, basically from the total vasanas, from total intellects in a potential condition, Sarvajñatvam, Tvaya Anumiyatam. Tvaya, by you, Sarvajñatvam of Ishvara should be inferred. So Miyatam, you know this, Anu plus Ma dhatu. From there we have word even Manam, Pramanam, all this word have come. Ma means to measure. And to measure is to know. Every sense organ measured the world. That's all. Every sense organ measured the world. My eyes measured the world in terms of color. My ears measure the world in terms of sound, right? This is all part of the world only. Form and, I mean, the colors and forms and then sound and touch and everything. That is the world. So each sense organ measures the world. That's how it is manam. So means of knowledge, or pramanam, same thing, means of knowledge. So here anu plus ma dhatu, from there they have made miyatam. So may you infer. So miyatam, miyeta, miyantam, etc. are the forms. Let's go to verse number 163. Vijnanamaya mukhyeshu kosheshu kosheshvanyatra chaivahi antastishthanyamyati tenantaryamitam vraje. Vidyaranya Swami is systematically and progressively, explaining the virtues of the Lord. So, based on the Mandukya Upanishad, 6th mantra, Esha Sarvajnaha, Esha Sarveshwaraha, Eshontaryami, and etc. Well, that mantra has been explained here. And so, two words he has already explained. Two attributes, superior attributes of Ishvara has been explained. Sarveshwara means Sarvashakti, and Sarvajnatvam has been explained. Now he is entering into the third thing. That also has been mentioned in Mandukya mantra. Eshontaryami, Esha Antaryami, inner controller. And so, Antasanyamayati, we say Antaryami. And so from this word Antaryami has been explained here. This is really, I tell you, this word requires a very big understanding. Most of the, as Pujya Swami used to tell, is Antaryami word has been mostly misunderstood word. And very fortunately, we are getting explanation here, and not in one verse. From 163 to 181, 19 verses is an explanation of word Antaryami. So he is really thoroughly enjoying. He is relaxed. And 19 verses he takes to explain Antaryami. This explanation of word Antaryami is not there anywhere in Vedanta Shastra. Anywhere. I have searched so many places. At one place, Pujya Swamiji is explaining Taittiriya Upanishad, and I think in Shikshavalli. And there Swamiji mentioned also, I think, that, this word Antaryami is a very misunderstood word. Anyway, so, but he is explaining this word Antaryami from, of course, Shruti Vakya, Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, you know very well, and Bhagavad Gita also. He will quote that also. And Brihadaranyaka is one Upanishad which dedicates the full section explaining this word Antaryami. It's a third chapter and the 7th section. And in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, every section is called Brahmanam. And so that 7th section is a 7th Brahmanam called Antaryami Brahmanam. The entire Brahmana, so entire that section of the 3rd chapter, 7th section, he has been devoted to this explanation of word Antaryami. So many mantras are there, so many mantras. And anyway, and there the explanation in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, I am giving you a gist of it. Well, there the whole universe has been divided into 3 parts. Adidaivam, Adibhutam and Adhyatma. Adidaivam means all the devatas. Adibhutam means all these, Vishayas, all objects. Bhautik Vishayas, all these objects. And Adhyatma means an individual, Jiva. So, Jiva, Jagat and Devatas. Adhyatma, Adibhuta, Devata, Adidaiva. And I'll give you explanation. For example, the eyes is called Adhyatma. Forms and colors is called Adibhuta. And the Devata, who is Anugraha is there, Adhishthan Devata, called Surya Bhagavan. You know very well, we have done it also. That is Adidaiva. So eyes, Adhyatmam, forms and colors, Adibhutam, and Surya Devata is Adidaiva with respect to this. Then, for tongue is Adhyatmam, all taste are Adibhutam, and Varuna Devata is Adidaivam. So this way, whole creation, I have given you example of two things, a small thing of a creation. Same way, the whole creation has been divided into Adhibhutam, Adhyatmam, Adhibhutam, Adhidaivam. And the Antaryami Brahmanam says, well, in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, that all these are there functioning because of one Antaryami behind whole thing. One Antaryami behind whole Jagat. One Antaryami behind Adhyatma, Adhibhuta and Adhidaiva. That is how the whole universe is throbbing. Whole universe is functioning because behind that there is a Ishvara or Antaryami. He is the inner controller. Anyway, so and here we find a difference between Devatas and Ishvara, right? So Adhidaivam is all the Devatas. And even Devatas are functioning because their Antaryami Ishvara is there. Therefore, Ishvara and Devatas are different. I have told you also, we have discussed, Devatas are nothing but a manifestation of Ishvara only from a given aspect. That's all. So, this Surya, the solar disk is there, functioning intelligently, right? And therefore, there must be a conscious entity. So, Ishvara, which is consciousness, conditioned by that solar disk, functioning of the solar disk, intelligent functioning of the solar disk, we call it some conscious being who is functioning there. That's called Devata. So the total consciousness value you see from the standpoint of a Upadhi. Like here, consciousness Brahman from the standpoint of a subtle body is called Jiva. Right? Same. That is how you are able to tell. You or any teacher will able to tell a Swami even that Tattvamasi. How you can say, basically, you are not, but Swami, but you are conditioned consciousness. So you are already conditioned, Swamiji. Yet this Upadhi is a mithya thing. And therefore, Upadhi means condition. And therefore, condition, if Upadhi is mithya, then conditioned consciousness also is mithya. Give example, Swamiji. Well, I have given you example in Mundaka yesterday, or before also. Pot space. Conditioned space, right? Conditioned by what? Pot. Now tell me whether pot space is real or not. It's not real. It's just space only. But it is. We have an entity called pot space. There is no entity. There is no entity. There is no entity called this pot space. Space is there. There is no pot space. If pot space is an entity, well, you be happy with the pot space. Let me have a Mahakasha, total space. And then where the pot space will stand? There is no entity. But anyway, so conditioned consciousness, Jiva, entity, is not entity. Because Upadhi itself is mithya. Subtle body is mithya. Anyway, what I am saying is Jiva and Ishvara difference. Devatas and Ishvara same difference. Devatas are also Jivas. Exalted Jivas. Say, how can you say? Like you and me, they also go for the knowledge, right? They also go for the knowledge. And Yamadharmaraja openly told to Nachiketa, really, he told that, well, definitely in your place, well, I should have been, I will talk to you a little later. Before that, I want to say a few things which I may forget. See, Devatas have prarabdha or not? Yeah, Swamiji. Over. Ishvara is prarabdha? No. That's all. Devatas have prarabdha. That's how they have got exalted body, due to prarabdha. So they have sanchita. Yeah, they have sanchita and they are right now. Swamiji, what about agami? No. No agami. Why? Because Devatas are basically, enjoying their prarabdha. That's all they are. They cannot create new karmas. They will have to come to a human sharira, where there is a free will. Anyway, so Devatas also have prarabdha and they return also. And all Bhagavan says that we need not have to worry. From Swarga also they return, etc. And therefore, if they have a karmas, then definitely it is their jivas. That's the one point. Second point, Kena Upanishad. There very clearly that Indra and and our Agni and our, what is that, Vayu. Yeah. So all they meant, who is this Yaksha? Who is this Yaksha? That question itself proves there is ignorance. Yeah, it proves ignorance, that they don't know Ishvara. They don't know Brahman. So if they don't know Brahman, if the Ajnanam is a Upadhi, then it is Ishvara or a Jiva. Ajnanam is a Upadhi, right? And therefore, and at other places also, Chandogya also has been told, Indra and Virochan had gone to Brahmaji's, place to gain this Jnanam, etc. If Ishvara is there, where is a question of going for Brahma Jnana? So being Sarvajna. So Devatas are Jiva. Okay, now I am talking about this Yamadharmaraja who said openly to this, our Nachiketa. He says, he tells that when I was a human being, I was not intelligent like you. And I did not ask for Brahma Jnanam. I performed great rituals, and as a result of that, I have got this post called Yamadharmaraja. In which mantra? Janamyaham Shevadihi Anityam, Shevadhirityam Anityam, Nahi Adruvaihi Prapyatehi Dhruvam Tat, Tato Maya Nachiketas Shitognihi, Anityai Dravyehi Praptavan Asmi Nityam. So, Tato Maya Nachiketaha Agnihi, Maya Nachiketaha Agnihi Chitaha. Well, I performed Nachiketa Yajna, etc., and therefore I got this post of Devata, etc. But I did, like you, I did not ask. You are asking me something about Nitya Vastu. Where at that time I did not ask about this Nitya Vastu. I performed this karma which is Anityam, and now I am got this post of a Devata. He calls it a Nityam, but it is relatively Nityam. Yeah. Compared to human life, definitely Devatas have a long life. So he says Nityam. But it is, he very openly told, I should have also asked for this Brahmajnanam only, but I did not ask at that time. Instead, I performed all these yajnas, etc., and got as a karmaphala this post. And therefore, so this proves Devatas do not have Brahmajnana. Means is Jiva. So anyway, and then, okay, this is Devatas, so they are also Jivas, and then Jivas are also Jivas, like us. And this Adhibhuta means all the objects, all these are supported by this Antaryami. Jeev, Jagat and Devatas, all are supported. Sometimes Devata is a part of Jagat. That's okay, one Jagat. Jiva also is a part of Jagat. Everything is one Jagat, but you can divide like this. Jeev, Jagat and Devatas. Jagat means world of objects. Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasamanta. Jiva means Adhyatma. And then Devatas, forces, varieties of the forces functioning in the universe. Anyway, so Vijnanamaya Mukhyeshu, so that has been summarized here. Vijnanamaya Mukhyeshu Kosheshu. In all these individual koshas, basically, like Vijnanamaya, Manomaya, Pranamaya, etc., which comes under Adhyatma. Right? All these koshas come under Adhyatma. And it says here, Vijnanamaya Mukhyeshu Kosheshu Anyatra cha. And other than this Vijnanamaya Kosha, etc., which is nothing but Adhyatma, Anyatra. Anyatra means here, Anyatra indicates at other places, means other than this Adhyatma. Then definitely other than Adhyatma means Adhidaiva and Adhibhuta also. So Anyatra refers to Adhibhuta and Adhidevam. Yaha eva hi antastishtan yamayati. So remaining in all these three, Adhyatma, Adhibhuta and Adhidaiva, this antastishtan, residing in this as a Maya Pratibimbita Chaitanyam. Because somebody, but why you have brought Maya? You are talking about Jagat. Jagat means what? It is Maya only, right? And therefore, so Jagat which is comprised of these three things, well, remaining in that Jagat, well, which was remaining in the Maya Pratibhita Chaitanyam, now remaining in this Jagat, which is of threefold, remaining inside that, existing in that, he is controlling the entire Jagat. Therefore, he is called Antaryami. Antaryami means Antastishtan, remaining, and remaining is not a good word actually. Tishtan means standing actually. Antastishtan. So standing inside. He is standing in this, he doesn't control this. So existing in that. It is in the form, the whole Jagat is non-separate from Ishvara. Maya is non-separate. Maya manifest. That is Jagat. Jagat also is a non-separate from Ishvara. And therefore it exists in all the names and forms. Here it has been divided into three. And therefore, well, he resides in everything and controls everything. How can you say it? He controls? So easy. We'll see that in 19 verses, 18 verses now. We'll see how whole world is controlled. Therefore, he is a controller right there. Right there, nowhere else. Right there. Antaryamitam Rajet, Lord is called Antaryami. Ishvara is called Antaryami. And he resides in everything. So sometime you might have heard the word Sarvantaryami. Same thing. He is the inner controller of everything. Sarvantaryami. Okay. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.